Okay, so we were discussing about decision making, right? So, what is decision making? Decision making is the process by which a course of action is consciously chosen from available alternatives for the purpose of achieving a desired result, right? So, we are having a desired result, and to achieve that result, we have many options, many alternatives, right? Among these alternatives, we need to choose the best one. Okay, this course of action has to be decided, and that process is known as decision making. So, like our example, we have to go to Kashmir. So we have already going by bike, car, bus or train, or by a flight. So these are our alternatives. So based on our situation, we need to choose the best one. Okay. So for someone, bike would be the best. For someone else, car would be the best. Okay. And for someone else, flight would be the best. So based on our situation, we need to consciously, okay, upon thinking upon it, analyzing it. Only after that, it's not just randomly we are choosing, not by lot or by tossing a coin. No, consciously choosing the best one among them. And that is known as decision making. That process is decision making. Now, what are the limitations of decision making? First one is it's time consuming. So as we said, we need to make a decision consciously, right? So we need to consider the merits and the demerits of the decision. Okay, what is the alternative? For each alternative, we need to analyze, understand about it, right? Also, you will have to take sometimes you would have to take the advice from other people also. We need to involve others also into the decision making process. So all these things is time consuming, right? Then compromise decisions would be made sometimes because when a large number of people, more than a few are involved, each will have their own opinion, right? So even though you would feel this is the best course of action, then sometimes to satisfy everyone else, we would have to take a compromise decision, right? And third one is biased decision. Biased decision means what happens is sometimes what will happen is when the decision making authority, the manager, okay, he will have its own agenda. Okay, whenever he is trying to put a message, whenever he is trying to put a make a decision, what he would do is make he would try to make the decision which will suit him. Okay, his agenda, or which is best for him, or sometimes his friends. Okay, we know sometimes what will happen is informal groups will be formed in the office setup. So he would choose those decisions, or he would make those decisions which will benefit him or his friends. So that kind of decision always will be always wrong or harmful for other employees. And then limited analysis. Limited analysis means in the first step we said first limitation was it is time consuming. Because of that, the manager because of his inexperience, or because he don't know or he is lazy, he would not have considered all possible alternatives. Even though we say we need to consider all possible alternatives, we might not have considered the all possible alternatives. And that would again affect the decision making. So limited analysis. Then uncontrollable environmental factors. Uncontrollable environmental factors means those which are beyond our control. Okay? The political scenarios, right? The politics of the region, or some even like see now the coronavirus, like that, some kind of environmental factors that is uncontrollable. Maybe from internal, maybe from external also. The uncertain future. What we have to basically understand is whenever we are making a decision, what we are doing it for the future. Okay, for the future we are deciding, and we know future is uncertain because it may change. Maybe the next minute, maybe change in the next day. Right? The future is uncertain. That has also to be considered. Right? Then evaluation and selecting from alternatives. So we said decision making, the process of selecting consciously the best course of action among the alternatives to reach our goal, right? So we need to find out the best. So we need to evaluate the alternative and then select the best from the alternative. So how this is done? Okay, how it is done? So evaluation of alternatives means evaluation is needed to select the best alternative for implementation, right? So we need to do evaluation so that we can find out the best course of action to implement. And this is the point of ultimate decision making. So here we have decided we are going to do this, and then we'll be applying that. So that becomes our ultimate decision making, right? So while evaluating the alternatives, the manager must consider and compare the alternative plan or decisions, right? So as I said, we are having many alternatives and we need to choose the best among them. So what he must do, he must consider and compare all the alternatives, right? You should not do limited analysis. If we have 10 alternatives, don't take 5, compare them and submit it. No, what you should do is you should compare all 10, then only decide, right? Then for this, manager must consider quantitative and qualitative factors. And what are quantitative factors? Quantitative factors that can be measured numerically. Okay? You can measure them. They are tangible. Okay, measured numerically means it may be number of outputs. Okay, number of units produced, number of units sold. Okay, maybe even the amount profit which we got, or maybe the what the loss we made. So these things are quantitative factors. Then we have qualitative factors also. So qualitative factors means those factors which cannot be uh, measured numerically. Okay, this cannot be measured. That is what is the quality of our labor. Okay, then okay, like quality of labor and what is the political scenario, political conditions. Okay, even sometimes what will happen, international political conditions will also affect us, right? So that kind of thing. So those which are quantitative, that is which can be measured numerically, and those which cannot be measured numerically, qualitative. All these factors should be considered by the manager. So when selecting, okay. So what are the steps for selecting the alternate? You must consider all the alternatives. Okay, you must analyze all the alternatives, then only make a decision. And while considering alternatives, you should consider the qualitative and quantitative factors, right? So quantitative factors are measured numerically, and qualitative factors are which cannot be measured numerically, right? Then we have, how do we do this evaluation? We said we need to evaluate every alternative. So how are we going to evaluate the alternative? The first method is marginal analysis. Okay, so marginal analysis is concerned with the finding out of the change in total arising because of one additional unit. Okay, so what will happen if we produce one more? That is the question. Okay, we are producing n numbers. Okay, what would happen if we produce n plus 1? That's what marginal analysis is concerned with, right? We have two new terms, that is marginal revenue and marginal cost. Okay, so marginal revenue means it is a change in total revenue due to one additional unit sold. Okay, because we are selling one, what will happen to our profit, or rather what will happen to our revenue income? Okay, what will happen to our income when we sell one more unit? Okay, usually we sell n. What will happen if we sell n plus 1? What is the amount which will we get? That is marginal revenue. And marginal cost means it is the change in the total due to one additional unit produced. Okay, so we are producing n numbers, and now what will happen if we produce n plus 1? Okay, what is the cost of production? Okay, for n we used to have this much amount, we spend this much amount. What is the amount we have to spend for producing n plus 1? Okay, that is marginal cost. And what we do is we'll compare the additional cost with the additional revenue, both of them. What is the revenue for n plus 1? What is the cost of n plus 1? Okay, what is the revenue from n plus 1 and what is the cost of n plus 1? Both of these will be compared. And then if the additional revenue is more than the additional cost. Okay, if the revenue is more than the cost, it implies we can make more profit by producing more. Okay, if the revenue is more than the cost, more profit can be made by producing more. And if the revenue is less than the cost, okay, if the revenue is less than the cost, more profit can be made by producing less. That you need to understand that, like, if the revenue is less than its cost, okay, or if we for the n plus 1, so we usually produce n, okay, n number, okay, say 100, we usually produce 100, so we'll have to spend this much amount to produce n 100 units, and we'll get this much amount by selling 100 units. That's fixed. Now what we're trying is we'll be calculating what will happen if we produce 101. Okay, how much is the cost of producing 101? How much is the revenue? How much will we get if we sell 101 units? And if the revenue is more than the cost, then we can understand this, or the implication of that is, if we produce more, we'll have more and more profit. Okay, that is the implication. But if the revenue is less than the cost, okay, then that means if we reduce the number of, that is, if we reduce the production, we'll have more profit. Okay. The second method is cost and effective analysis, or cost benefit analysis. This is what we do usually. Okay, it involves calculation of ratio of benefits to the cost involved in a project. In benefit analysis, a project is considered to be desirable if its net benefit exceeds cost. Okay, benefit is more than the cost, so profit is more than cost. So net benefit should be greater than cost. And what is net benefit? Net benefit is total benefit minus this benefit. Okay, be greater than cost. And what are the costs? Cost involved are expenditure. Okay, expenditure is the cost. That is, we need to set up the company, right? So we have initial setup, initial investment. Initial investment is there. Then the operating cost is there. Maintenance cost is there. All this thing comes under expenditure. Then overhead cost, many are there. Okay, so that comes under expenditure. Benefits means gain, okay? Profit, and disadvantage means loss. And among the alternatives, which gives us the maximum benefit and minimum cost is select, right? That is cost benefit analysis. Now, how do we select? How do we select the best from alternative? So for that, we will use our experience. We may experiment, or we may perform research and analysis. Okay. Okay. So we may experience, we may use our experience, we may experiment, or we may do research and analysis, right? When we are making a decision. So experience means what we learned from the past. Okay, what we learned yesterday, or what we learned a year before. That is our experience. So it's a guide. So we had faced a similar situation. Like we had faced a similar situation there, and what did we do? Like that's the experience. So it's a guide for making a decision. Okay, or selecting a decision. So plays a great role in decision making. Then experimentation. Experimentation, what we do is we'll try out one of the alternatives. Okay, we'll choose one of the alternatives and see how we'll implement it. We don't know whether it is right or wrong decision, but we'll implement it and see what will happen. Okay, we don't know whether it's the best or best over here, but what we do is we'll implement it and see what will happen. So in order to implement, we need to spend money, and we need to have manpower. We need to spend money and manpower. So what will happen is this method becomes very expensive. Okay, this then only thing, whenever see sort of like that, we have 10 alternatives. Do one, check one. If it is not working, check other. No, we should not do that. Okay, because it will cost more and more money. Only we should be using this method only when all the other alternatives are considered. Okay, we have considered everything, but only this thing is remaining. Okay, at that time only we should do. Okay, sometimes what will happen, we'll be having 3 or 4 alternatives. We may not be able to choose between them, right? Like that. Then research and analysis is the best thing. Okay, So what we have to do, we have to understand the problem. Okay? We have to understand what we are doing. Then we may do modeling or analysis, qualitative or quantitative analysis. See, something like done in a lab, right? Whenever you're constructing a building, so you need to have concrete. What you do, you make a concrete of the specified. You will design the concrete for the strength. Then what you take, you make a cube of the 15 centimeter cube will be made, and it will be given to the laboratory to test. Okay. After testing only, we can know whether we are successful or not. So like that, we need to do some modeling. We have to do qualitative and quantitative study. We have to study them, right? So this is the that is the decision making. What are the steps involved? Okay. Whenever what is decision making? Decision making means choosing the best from alternatives. Okay, choosing the best course of action from the alternatives so that we can meet our goal or objective. Okay, so select the best from the alternatives, best course of action from the alternatives. That is decision making, right? So we need to, whenever to select the best, we need to evaluate all the alternatives, right? We need to evaluate all the alternatives has to be evaluated. So while evaluation, we need to consider the qualitative and quantitative factors. So what there are techniques for evaluation. They are margin analysis and cost benefit analysis is there. So in margin analysis, we'll see what will happen if we produce one more. Okay, whether it is raw revenues higher or lower than the cost. If the revenue is higher, means we can have more profit by producing more, and if the revenue is lower, it means we can have more profit by producing less. Then cost benefit analysis will be done and be also done. And the cost benefit analysis means comparing the cost to the benefit, and if it is more, which is more benefit, that alternative should be chosen. That is how evaluations are done. For selection, we will use our experience, then we will use experimentation, that is implement and see what will happen, and do research and analysis. Right. So next topic is what are the different types of decisions. Okay, so basically there are two types of decisions. Okay, they are programmed and non-programmed decisions. Non-programmed and non-programmed are the two basic types of decision made by managers. Okay, so basically we have two types of decisions to be made. They are programmed and non-programmed. Okay, so it depends on the authority, responsibility, and position of the manager. So based on his position or his authority or responsibility, he'll be making either programmed or non-programmed. We shall see what they are. Okay, so there are two types of decision: programmed and non-programmed decision. So programmed decisions are made by following standard rules, policies, and procedures. Okay, so in program decision, what we do is we have standard rules for the policy and procedures are there. So we'll be following that, and then only we'll be making decisions. Okay, there is for each scenario, we know what has to be done. So on basis of that, we'll make decisions. Right. So these are repetitive and structured in nature. Okay. So for a given situation, the program decision will be same, even if it is made by two different managers. Because we are following a certain given rules, procedures, and policies, even if whoever makes a decision will be same. Right? See, for example, we can say you are the purchase manager. Okay. So someone comes and tells you, okay, purchase manager, we need this much of items. Okay. Our production is low, we need this much of items. What do you do? What would you do? So you check you'll have a procedure, right? You'll ask the competent authority to sign it off. Okay, it's the project. Then if we get that project, we'll order the product from the same from the supplier who always supplies. Okay. We order the supplier. Okay, so we need this much of thing. Okay, maybe cement. We need this much quantity of cement, right? So and when would you bring it? So we need by tomorrow. So the supplier said, okay, we'll bring it by tomorrow. So everything is fixed, right? The site engineer might come and say, we need cement. So the purchase manager will, because the site engineer has signed it off, take the request, then he'll forward it to top. Then once that sanction is made, then you'll call the supplier. Supplier will bring the material. So these things are structured. So every situation, whoever is site engineer, whoever is the project manager, this thing will be same. Okay, once it is approved, get the right. So that's the program decision. So who makes this decision? Actually, makes the program decisions will be made in the lower level. Okay, so lower level management will actually have to make more of the programmed decisions. Okay, then we have non-program decisions. Non-program decisions are unstructured, okay, non-recurring, and ill-defined in nature. Okay, we cannot define non-program decisions. They are non-programmed. So basically, you would understand, right? Programmed, so it will happen as you have programmed. So non-program, it is not that. We cannot. It is unstructured. We cannot define the decision. We cannot define the situation. It will be based on the situation. Okay, it will be based on the judgment. Okay, subjective judgment is required, and that will vary from person to person. These decisions are made under new and unfamiliar circumstances. Like when we faced last year, we had when the COVID came, we have been forced to lockdown. So we don't know what has to be done, what will be done, nothing, right? So at that time, a new situation came, a new circumstance came, and we were forced to act. Okay, that kind of decisions is program, non-program decisions. So we based on the situation. Based on the situation, we had to act. So this decision, the decision maker has to create an answer which best suits this unexpected circumstance. We don't know what is happening. The decision maker will be forced to make a decision. Okay. So, but now when the lockdown comes, see, last year when the lockdown came, we behaved differently, and this year again now we are facing a lockdown. We are behaving differently, right? So this year we know what is happening, but the last year we didn't know what is happening. So this decision has becoming more and more structured. The classes are going on in online mode, right? The officers will work one day interval with 1 day interval. We are getting more and more structured about it. Actually, we shouldn't, but we are getting accustomed to this living with corona. That's the situation. Right? So that is program decision. So what are the methods? Okay, what are the different methods for making non-program decisions? Because program decisions can be made by anyone because we have a set of policies, rules, and procedures are there. These decisions can be made by anyone, so no problem, right? But non-program is not that. This is based on the situation. Okay, based on the situation, we have not seen that kind of a. We have never made such a decision. We have never had such a problem. So we are forced to make such a decision at that time. So what are the different methods? The first method is Delphi method. Okay, in Delphi method, what happens is a panel of experts are presented with a questionnaire. The responses are tabulated and the opinions are made known to all members so that they may revise their opinions. This process continues until some degree of consensus is achieved. What happens in Delphi method? Delphi method, what will we do? We'll prepare a questionnaire. We'll prepare a set of questions. Okay, and we'll give it to experts. Okay, in the if we are talking about construction, we'll have some experts from the construction field or from the IT field, or from if it's in IT, we'll be calling from IT, medical, then doctors and nurses will be called. Okay, so experts will be called, and we'll present them with a questionnaire, and we'll ask them, please please out the questionnaire. Okay. One thing, the response is tabulated. Okay, all the responses we'll check the responses and what is the answer for each question. Okay, who all made the question. If we have 10 experts, 8 experts said yes, and 2 experts said no. For question B, the 5 experts said yes, 5 experts said no. Like that, we'll tabulate. Okay. So finally, once we tabulate, we'll give them the option to the experts to again revise the answer. Okay, based on opinion, everything is made. So for others, I have also marked the answer. So everyone has Okay, then we'll again give the questionnaire back and we'll ask them to revise it, and revise. So once it is revised, again we'll do the same. We'll tabulate the question and we'll say, okay, this means then changes. Okay, so 5 has become 6-4. Okay, 5 has become 4-6. Like the changes have come. So this process is repeated again and again until we get some degree of consensus. So that everyone has to agree on the everything. No, but if this is more or less okay, everyone is okay with it. Okay? There's no other option. We may conduct it like that. If they are okay with it, then we'll take that decisions. Okay? That option will be taken. That is Delphi method. Okay? Don't get confused with the name and all, because Delphi means something which is very complicated now. Okay, it's a very simple method. Experts are called upon. Experts are given a questionnaire. They are asked to fill out the questionnaire. Then the organizer will tabulate the answers. It will be announced to the paper, and after that, they have a chance to revise it. Okay. Once again, it will tabulate again. We'll repeat the process until we get some sort of consensus. Okay. It's almost speed. The second method is normal technique. No technique. The group may one an idea or an interaction can for the member. Okay. So in this method, what we do is we make a again we have a group of members. We have a group of members. All the members should give up a person an idea. Okay, should come up. Okay, so the 5 or 6 will come. They will say, okay, but the rest 5 will sit idle. No, 10 people are there. 10 people should present an idea or an alternative. Okay. So, no interactions ever allowed. Okay. Only after the ideas are presented, they will be allowed to interact. And finally, like that, we can refine the best ideas among them. That is the group. The third one is experience. Our experience, personal law. If experience might be my own experience or my friend's experience or my acquaintance, somebody I know. Okay? I can use that experience in my life also. Okay? Experience may be personal or experience from others. This is also the method. Next method is quantitative decision making tools. These are mathematical and statistical tools. You would have learned someday, or you will learn, like operations research, Monte Carlo method simulations, linear programming, LPP, break-even analysis, etc. Okay? These are statistical methods. We'll do the method, we'll do the analysis, and then we'll decide upon the alternative. Okay? And the last method is quality circles. Quality circles means it's a volunteer method. Okay, in a small group of employees. Quality circles means there are small groups of employees from the same department who volunteer to meet regularly in order to identify, analyze, and solve problems about their work. Okay, so in quality analysis, what happens is some department, a few employees will say, okay, Friday evening we will meet up. They will come, they'll sit on Friday, they'll meet. So every Friday they'll meet and they'll discuss about the department, what is happening in the department. Okay, what is the problem in our department? What can be done? What can we do to solve this problem? We can analyze this. So they will sit, talk. They will find some solution. Okay, which is that they are to okay, people. If I want to come they but if it's waterly, if they are coming, then they'll give the 100%. Right? So what is the difference between programmed and non-programmed decisions? Programmed are programmed. Okay? It's programmed to do so. So it is programmed is recurring nature, non-programmed, non-recurring nature. Then problems are structured. Non-programmed, their problems are not structured. Then in programmed decisions are relatively simple and have small impact. But in non-program, decisions are very complex and have a long-term impact. Decisions are guided by policies and procedures. In the non-program, decisions are guided by factors in particular situation. That particular situation will warrant our response. We will be responding according to that situation. Okay? Tomorrow, when the situation is, we will be responding in another way. Okay? So decisions are taken by the lower level management. That's important. Okay? Programmed structure. Program is the decisions are reoccurring. The problem, the situation is again and again happening. Reoccurring situations are there. So lower level management will be doing programmed and decisions, and the top level management will taking non-recurring. Okay. So we briefly go again. Types of decision. We have two types of decision: program decisions and non-program decisions. Program decisions are made by lower level managers because they are recurring in nature. Okay, they are recurring in nature. They follow a standard rules, policies, and procedures, and it is a structured decisions has to be made. So we need not bother too much. Okay, even in the one situation, anyone will make the same decision because they are following a certain policy procedure, right? But in non-program decisions, what will happen is they are unstructured. We cannot define the decision nature. Okay, they require substitute. They require your judgment. Judgment is required, and they vary from person to person. So these decisions are made under unfamiliar circumstances. Decisions maker has to create an answer which best suits the circumstances. Yeah, different methods are there. Okay. For making a non-program decision, 5 methods are there. First one is Delphi method. So in Delphi method, what will happen is we'll call up some experts on the topic, then we'll present them with a questionnaire, and they will have to fill the questionnaire out. Once they fill the questionnaire out, we'll collect the responses, we'll tabulate them. Okay. Once tabulated, we'll announce them. So question A, 5 people have said yes, 5 people have said no. Question B, 10 people have said yes. Question C, 4 people have said yes, 6 people have said no. And we'll announce the results, and they will be given an opportunity to revise. Okay. If you want to revise, you may. So they will think about it. They will revise the answers. Okay. And this will be process done repeated until and unless we write some sort of consensus. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can move like that. If everyone agrees, till that time we will be repeating. Okay. Then the second method is normal group technique. Normal group technique. In this method, what will happen? We'll have a group of members, and all of them are hosts, or all of them are required to give up an idea or alternative. Okay. All of them should present, and that then only after you have presented all your ideas, then you can interact. Maybe you can change your ideas. Also, finally, we have different alternatives, and we can select the best. Then your experience, your past experience. That may be your experience or someone you know. Okay, you can consider them also in making non-program decisions. Then quantitative decision making tools such as the PERT, program evaluation review technique, linear programming, operational research, break-even analysis, like that. We have many numerical and statistical methods. We may do that. Right? Okay. Another thing is quality circles. We may form quality circles. So quality circles means a small group of employees who volunteer themselves their service. So they will meet regularly. They will sit and talk about the various problems they have. Okay. Various problems in their department. They'll discuss about that. They'll analyze, and finally they'll give a solution. Okay. So difference between program and non-program is in nature, non-program, non-recurring. No program, no decisions are and small intelligence. Here the simple program decisions are relatively complex, and the impact decisions are guided by policy fixed to make decisions. Similarly, making non-program decisions, we don't have that will depend on the situation. What the situation tells us, we'll be doing accordingly. And decisions are made by non-program decisions are made by program decisions are made by lower level manager because it's repetitive in nature. So we can know, we know. But in the top level management, we have the not program decisions because we don't know. We have no solution. We'll be forced to. So we stop. So we'll wind up here today. Please let me know if you have any doubts.